Eyes up here.
You have failed this city.
Wow. I know, right? Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
It's you the right. What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
But that is being human.
Maybe.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Watchtower, where we talk all things DC. I'm Slav, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day because we have some big things to talk about. First and foremost, we got a teaser for Supergirl, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But there's also some other things that we're going to talk about. Before we get into that, not a whole bunch, but I do want to talk about those things before we dive deep into the teaser trailer and dissect it and take a look at all the things that are Supergirl. So, before we do all that, how's it going? Let's see who's here in the chat, as we always do. Movie Talk Now. Hello, friend. Hello. How's it going? Critic Chris is here saying hi to Movie Talk. Trayvon says Slav is here. Yes, I am. And Movie Talk also said, let's go. Let's see, who else is here? Anybody else? Trayvon, Critic, Movie Talk Now. Donovan was in here, but he left. River stopped by earlier in the day to leave a comment of sorts. River 718, I'm going to say this, his comment here, because I think it is not the way most people feel. He says, awesome, in regards to the thumbnail of this video. It says, awesome. It literally looks like Supergirl Guardians of the Galaxy. I'd rather reread the comic it's supposedly inspired by. First off, it's not supposedly inspired by that comic. It 100% is inspired by the comic, which you can even see when you watch the teaser. But he also says, all that teaser did was confirm my no confidence vote for the DCU. People are wild. That's all I have to say. People are absolutely wild. They don't know what they're talking about. I won't say they don't know what they're talking about. This unsolicited hate towards DC is getting out of hand. I mean, that's the best way to put it. It's just getting out of hand. It really is. And Willie is here. He says, back with another video. Yes, back with another video. I am back with another DC update, I should say. Let's see, anybody else here? Nobody else has stopped it yet. The audience will build as we go along, obviously, but the first thing I want to talk about is the teaser trailer. My initial thoughts. We'll dive deep into it in due time, but I do want to give my initial thoughts on the teaser trailer. So it kicks off, I think, in glorious fashion. And I know there's some people that just don't like the way that it kicked off with Crypto. And first off, the moment you see Crypto, I absolutely adore that dog. And for those of you who have read Woman of Tomorrow and know the story in that book, specifically with Crypto, the more I sit here and I think about that, the more I realize how important it was to have Crypto in Superman prior to this movie. Now, the way this teaser kicks off, you see Crypto, you see him walking through this room or whatever, And you see him, he pees on a newspaper, and then the newspaper has Superman on it. And a lot of people like have an issue with that. First off, it's comedy. It's comedic. It's a comedic moment. First off, he's peeing on a newspaper, which, hey, good job. And you get that line from Kara that, hey, you got most of it on the paper this time. Good job, buddy. So you get that moment where it's like, okay, she's still trying to potty train him in a sense, but it's comedic also because it's Superman. And the love-hate relationship that, that Crypto has with Superman that we saw in the last movie. So you have that. So that's a little comedic. But then you also have the fact that it's just Superman on a newspaper and he pees on it and it's funny. The fact that people can't pick up on that is kind of ridiculous. But then there's one other aspect to it. One other aspect to it is this is Supergirl's movie. This isn't Superman's movie. This is Supergirl's movie. So peeing on Superman in that moment is like, no, this isn't Superman's movie. Don't think this is Superman's movie. This is Supergirl's movie. So there's a few layers to it, but it's more for a comedic aspect than anything else. And if you don't dig it, then you don't dig it. But to me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. But again, I really enjoy Crypto. I really like Crypto. So that's me. Okay, moving on. You start to see the aesthetic and the Millie Alcock of it all. And what I mean by that is just her acting, her presence. She is a phenomenal actress. And we saw that in House of Dragon a few years ago. Like, she was phenomenal in that. She's bringing it to this role. And I think that is going to be a huge reason why this movie is successful, is because of what she can bring to a movie. She is a leading star, a leading actress, and she is going to show that. And this teaser highlighted that here in itself. So I love that about it. The tone and the aesthetic, and everybody, I see some people complaining that it's so brown. Well, that's where they're at in this moment. There's color in it as well, but it's not super colorful. But again, let's wait. This is a teaser trailer. It was 120 seconds, and it wasn't even all 120 seconds of footage because there were cutscenes and cutovers and overlays of things. So you don't even get a full 120 seconds of footage. Like 120 seconds of a 2-hour long movie. Calm down, people. Again, we're going to see how this all goes, and I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the way this looked, the way it felt. It felt like the comic it's inspired from, which I really, really liked. I mean, you get that bar scene, the bar scene from the comic, like that is there. Ruthie, we see Ruthie. This little girl who's playing Ruthie, the way that she portrays herself is incredible. Like, when they cast her and when I saw her and she was like a little girl, I was a little concerned because I was like, she's going to be like this little girl. Like, the way I read the book was she was very, noble and very intelligent and very smart speaking. She's got that in this movie. Like, the way she portrays herself and puts herself off is fantastic. So she did a great job in what little bit we got of her. Krem of the Yellow Hills, his portrayal, the way they made him look, that might be my biggest complaint. I don't like the design of him. We'll see, though. Again, it's a teaser. This is just supposed to whet our appetite. Gives us a little bit of like, hey, this is the trailer, or this is the movie. This is what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. You'll get to see more in the next few months, in the coming months, and then you'll get to see the movie. But this is just a taste. So I wasn't a big fan of it, but that's okay. The choice for the Blondie music, that's fine. It's giving you that feel of like what kind of movie this is going to be. I liked that. There wasn't a lot of action, which is okay. I'm okay with that. I saw some people complaining on TikTok that there wasn't a lot of action. They didn't highlight the action. This is a teaser. You're not going to get a full-on action sequence in a teaser. Again, they showed off a little bit of her action. They showed off her flight. They showed off her doing a little bit of some action, some flying, some maneuvering, some getting away, and some action. They showed just a little bit, just again to tease us of what she can and will be doing. It's what it's supposed to do. I was shocked that they showed us Lobo. I really didn't think they would do that. But I'm happy. I'm happy that they did because I'm a fan. I just really thought that they would focus more so on Supergirl, more so on the fact that this is a Supergirl movie. But the fact that it was like a split second of Lobo, I'm okay with because it was more of a blink and you miss it kind of thing. So I liked that. But overall, I think this teaser did exactly what it needed to do. It got us excited, it got us thinking, it got us talking, and that's what a teaser is supposed to do. For those out there who are complaining about it, saying it feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, first off, there's one moment in this teaser that felt a little Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's the moment where they're in the bar, she stands up, and all those guns get pointed on her and Ruthie. And yeah, that felt a little Guardians of the Galaxy, but again, that's not a knock on a movie. That's not a negative thing for the movie because, first off, Guardians of the Galaxy, they're great films. It is a highly regarded franchise. So if you are going to make a space adventure film, why not borrow from one of the highly regarded franchises? First off, James Gunn didn't write this. James Gunn didn't direct this. Maybe this is Gillespie's way of honoring James Gunn and respecting him and saying, look, I loved what you made there. I'm going to kind of make my own version. So again, it's not a big deal, but I don't look at this as Guardians of Galaxy 4 or Kryptons of the Galaxy and things like that. For me, no. I thought this teaser did what it needed to do, and I'm excited about it. And what's even great is you take a look here, because I have the YouTube pulled up right now of the teaser trailer, and you can see down in the left corner where it says 5.5 million views in 8 hours. That is fantastic. That is on par with what Superman did with its teaser trailer on YouTube. Within the first 7 hours, Superman hit 5 million views. So I don't know what it did in 8 hours, but within that 8 hours, I'm sure it is right on par with what Superman was doing with trailer views or teaser views. It's going to do well. There's interest there. People are excited about it, and it's just going to keep building. I showed it to my family when I got home. The girls are interested. The girls are excited about crypto yet again. Again, people are interested and are going to want to see this film. People that don't typically go see superhero films look at this and say, that looks fun. And that's what matters. So again, I think it was a really great teaser. I'm looking forward to it. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. Because look, this is a big deal for DC, the second movie, the second outing. And as I kept saying, as I've been saying for quite some time, the true test for DC wasn't Superman and Peacemaker. No, the true test for DC is this coming year, 2026, when it comes to Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface, because these are the movies that don't necessarily have James Gunn attached as writer-director. This is him being a producer, a studio head. And how does he do in that role in guiding and leading a studio forward? But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right. What do we got? Emo Nerd Girl. I haven't seen you for a while. How's it going? Says, do you think Star Wars should be rebooted by James Gunn? I don't think Star Wars should ever be rebooted. Regardless of how bad it has gotten, in my opinion, I don't think it should ever be rebooted. I love the original trilogy. I love the prequel trilogy. To me, those are films that are so high on my list. I don't ever think they should be rebooted. But would I love to see James Gunn play in that sandbox at some point? Sure. If he ever leaves DC and feels like he can have a good story for Star Wars, absolutely. I say give him a shot, but I don't think it should be rebooted. No. Let's see. Movie Talk Now says she's a leading star, talking about Millie Alcock. Jason Momoa has led two or $3 billion movies. I believe his Fast and Furious movie made over $1 billion, and Corn Sweat Superman. Like, wow, what a cast. Indeed. Hunter Iggy says, did you see Harsh Critic video? I did not, because I do not watch his videos at all anymore. I don't even care if people tell me to watch them. I refuse to watch his videos because he says the same 3 things over and over again. He does not have he doesn't have a smart bone in his body to critique anything at all. He says the same things. He doesn't critique. He insults, and there's no point in watching his stuff. Like, there's zero reason to watch his stuff. Real Nerdy Review says the teaser was okay, nothing amazing. Hey, I mean, it's all subjective. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it truly highlighted what this movie is going to be, who Millie Alcock is as Supergirl, and I think it captured the Woman of Tomorrow comic very well, specifically just in this teaser. I can't wait till we get a full-length trailer, but yeah, I think it was an amazing teaser. I think it was a very strong teaser. Movie Talk says, no question, a ton of anti-Supergirl trailer posts on X were pre-written earlier this week. I have no doubt in my mind that you're right about that. I saw things from like the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and that like whole group of people, like them posting things very anti-woman and stuff like that. And look, I admit myself, like I don't want any woke things in my movies. And I have been a little worried about Supergirl potentially going in that direction. But there's zero that of anything that I've seen to this point that is pointing to that possibly being in this film. Zero. And that group of people, they will sit there and just judge a film before it even comes out. And I am not like that. I've never been like that. You know, I don't like that kind of stuff in my films, in my TV shows, and in my projects that I watch. I don't. And I've always been upfront about that. But the thing is I will give everything a shot. I did it, for instance, with The Acolyte. I watched The Acolyte. I gave it a shot. I had a feeling it was going to be what it was, but I still watched it and gave it a shot because, hey, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was going to be fine. Again, you never know. So again, Supergirl to this point doesn't show me that it's going to be all just woman power, man bad. No, it doesn't show me that at all. So the way that some people are reacting in that regard, ridiculous. But then on the flip side, you have the anti-Supergirl fans who are just, we hate James Gunn, and that's ridiculous as well. It's getting out of hand. It really is. Brian with an eye says, finally a cosmic DC movie. Hey, I mean, finally. I mean, DCU. Yeah, I guess before this even, we really haven't had anything. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. What else do we got? Anything else? Nothing else here. Up there. Let's see. Brian with an eye, can you see the dislike-like ratio for the trailer? I don't see it here. Let me see if I can see it over here. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Because I don't have that plugin on Safari. I have it over here, though. Let's see. Don't play. Oh, my plugin isn't working. Oh, there we go. The likes are 259,000. Dislikes are 21,000. So that is what it's showing me. Yeah. Again, I can't pull it up on Safari. I don't have that kind of plugin on Safari, but on Chrome, it shows me 259,000 likes, 21,000 dislikes. Willie says, they all mentioned Superman on the paper, but Supergirl was on it too. She rescued some cats while Superman stopped a nuclear meltdown. See, I didn't even notice that. Like I have yet to look that closely. That's what I'm doing today with all of you in a little bit here. Let's see. Willie says Gunn should direct a Rebel movie. That's the comment of the day. Comment of the day. You win comment of the day, Willie. Congratulations. Emo asks, have you caught Welcome to Derry yet? I have. I've watched every episode that's come out so far. Fantastic show. Fantastic. I've encouraged everybody who hasn't watched it to watch it. If you like the first or those two It movies that came out a few years ago from Andy Muschietti, to watch that show. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Movie Talk Now says that like-dislike ratio is similar to my poll with over 10,000 votes. The consensus is people enjoyed the Supergirl trailer. Indeed. Hunter says, did you see my comment? I saw a comment. I don't know if I saw the right comment. You asked about Harsh Critics video. I saw that and I responded and said I did not watch it because I don't watch his stuff. That's the only comment I saw there, Hunter. So I don't know if I'm missing something. I don't see anything else. All right. So let's move to the first thing. James Gunn is a winner of an award. That's right. I don't know if you heard, but he was honored by Entertainment Weekly as one of the entertainers of the year. So every December, Entertainment Weekly will do a spotlight for artists who define the year with their list of entertainers of the year. This started way back in the 90s. This isn't some like new award. This isn't something that they just started doing over the last like 10 years or anything. This is like a 30-year trend that they've been doing for quite some time, obviously 30 years. So what they decided to do is they take a look at who has been doing what in Hollywood, in the industry, whether it's movies, whether it's TV, even with music. They look at everything within entertainment. And James Gunn this year is one of them. I mean, it's not just one. They pick, every week they pick different winners. But again, James Gunn this past week was the recipient. John Cena was the one that got to honor him in the article himself. But the reason why he got this win was specifically for what he pulled off in 2025. Let's not forget that people love to sit there and say, oh, he had Superman come out and Peacemaker season 2 come out. But he didn't just have those things come out. He worked on the editing, the post-production on both of those. He's been working as the studio co-head of DC Studios and preparing for the future projects, writing Man of Tomorrow, working on post-production for Supergirl, getting that movie ready to come out, working with production on Clayface, working on post-production for Lanterns and helping them and getting that completed. All of this type of stuff, he's been doing that over the course of 2025. Not to mention that the tail end of the season of Creature Commandos also came out in 2025 as well. So when you sit back and take a look at all the craziness, all the stuff that happened in 2025 for James Gunn, his year was chock full of just absolute craziness, and he pulled it off and in great fashion. Because people loved Creature Commandos. People loved Superman. It was highly successful. Peacemaker, while it wasn't the greatest way to leave a taste in people's mouth with that season finale, people enjoyed Peacemaker season 2. It has a great rating, audience score. It's just the season finale kind of left people a little, people are looking forward to what's coming with Supergirl, what's coming with Lanterns. He's building the DC universe. He's doing all of this. He's a studio head. All of that in 2025. This is far more than earned. Like, he has more than earned this award. And it's great to see that somebody like Entertainment Weekly was willing to, notice this and say, look, he deserves this. He truly deserves this. Now, you can read my take of it over at slavsfreetalk.com. You can also then find the link to go to Entertainment Weekly to read all about it there. As John Cena talks about what he's done and how great of a person he is there as well, and all that kind of stuff. But it's great to see that James Gunn, who's very deserving of this award this year because he's done so much and so many great things for the industry. Look, he deserves it. Absolutely. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all of this. Let's see, anybody else? Trayvon says, the Black Line said it perfectly how Superman Peacemaker Season 2 was sort of a Season 1 of the DCU, while Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface will make up DCU Season 2. And that's an interesting way to say or put it. I can definitely see that for sure. Critic Chris says, I'm sick of people thinking the DCU can be made overnight. Yeah, I mean, it can't be. Definitely can't be. Willie says, I heard Snyder is a front runner for the FIFA Peace Prize. Of course he is. Of course he is. All right. So we all know the whole thing going on right now is Netflix trying to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, and obviously Paramount is trying to do a hostile bid to circumvent Netflix in purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery. But while that's going on, Netflix has been kind of discussing what their plans are for everything going on for everything that would happen once they were to acquire and the sale were to go through. And one of those things is obviously the DC IP, specifically the films, the TV, and the animation side of things. Because let's face it, we're all curious. Netflix has been upfront saying, look, we're going to keep HBO Max over here. We're going to have HBO Max, but we're also going to have Netflix. And while personally, I think that at some point down the line, they're going to find a way to combine the two. Look, I get that HBO is synonymous with, quality and prestige and everything like that, but there's the idea of running two streamers under one company doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So to me, I feel if this deal does go through with Netflix, at some point down the line, they are going to find a way, in their own way, to combine the two, still have the HBO branding, but have one streamer. That's just my belief. But before they get to doing that, what are they going to do with DC? What is going to happen with DC films, DC cartoons, DC television shows as a whole? Well, they kind of explained a little bit while talking with UBS Global Media and while speaking at the UBS Global Media and Communications Conference. Sarandos said, this is a prestige television brand that people really love. Speaking of HBO Max, or HBO specifically, I would say that they have been doing gymnastics to make themselves into a general entertainment brand. And I think under this transaction, they don't have to do that anymore. We're already a very well-established general entertainment brand. And we want HBO to double down on things that people have loved for 50 years about HBO. He added that these assets work better in our business model, and our business model works better with these assets. So he's like, these assets work better here, these assets work better here. Co-CEO Greg Peters, also speaking, said HBO is an incredible brand with an incredible history. It speaks prestige TV. We want to double down on that concept. So when you think prestige TV, some people think of The Sopranos or Game of Thrones or The Wire, things like that. The prestigious shows that have come out of HBO over the years. The pair's comments like True Detective, White Lotus, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, those types of things are big prestigious shows that will focus and be the focus of HBO. While Netflix will be the home for the DC Studios titles and series based on broad IP. This is interesting. Very, very interesting, because when news first came out about this, remember, when news first came out, they were like, hey guys, look, the structure is going to be the same. You're going to have Warner Brothers Discovery or Warner Brothers over here, which David Zaslav is going to be in control of, and you're going to have Netflix over here. And when you think about that, you start to think like, okay. So Zaslav, Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Studios, and HBO, it's going to be all under him. And then over here, you're going to have Netflix. Now, obviously, Netflix is going to be above them, but then you'll have Netflix kind of over here. So you have Netflix and then the Netflix streaming over here with all their movies and stuff over here. But it seems that DC Studios may shift under the Netflix brand. That does worry me a little bit, because what that then means is possibly, I'm not saying it's definite, but there's a possibility that Dan Lin could be James Gunn's boss. And maybe that's why Peter Safran hasn't been talked about so much in a lot of discussions that we've been hearing around everywhere. And maybe it's just that Dan Lin and James Gunn take the reins of DC Studios or something like that. I don't know, but it does worry me slightly because, again, my problem has always been with Netflix purchasing Warner Brothers is their lack of creativity. It's that they are so dead set solely on algorithms. It's that they're so dead set on like, hey, we want to reach the most amount of eyes as possible. So let's just put out a product, put out 6 to 7 new things every week, a new TV show or movie every single day of the week. Who cares if it's good? Who cares if it's exciting? We just want to get as much content out there as possible so we can get as many eyes on it as possible. That way there's people subscribing because they see that there's new content every single day and maybe they'll click on it. Instead of sitting back and saying, hey, we want prestige. We want to have good content. We want to put good content on Netflix. And that's my concern with DC. Plus, they're talking about Warner Brothers and their whole plan and their whole structure about going theatrical all the time. But if DC is now going to move over to the Netflix side of things, and they're talking about Netflix staying the course for Netflix, what does that mean for DC? Does that mean DC is not going to go theatrical? Are we? And I know he did mention Superman when he was saying, well, this year, if we were in charge, Superman would have been in theaters. Okay, I get that. But the way they're talking now does concern me. That is Superman 3, is a Batman movie in the DCU, is a Wonder Woman movie in the DCU. Is that guaranteed a theatrical release? Or is it going to be like the Knives Out sequel that's coming out this, or that just came out? Is it going to have a limited run of like 3 days in the theaters before it's on streaming? See, that's my concern about this. I know they have the money. I know that they're willing to throw money at DC, which is great. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, or a week or so ago, that look, Netflix can throw money at James Gunn and DC Studios and say, hey, go at it, make your universe. Let's see what you can do. More so than what Warner Brothers Discovery has been able to do with them. But how are they going to handle it? Is it going to stay under the Warner Brothers umbrella? Or are they truly going to move it under the Netflix umbrella? And are they going to have control of it completely? And Zaslav and Warner Brothers are not going to touch it at all? And Dan Lin runs it, or what? Like, that is my concern. I know that James Gunn is safe. I'm not worried about James Gunn not being safe. I know that he'll have a job at DC Studios. I know that if he wants to stay, he'll be able to stay. I know that without a doubt. But my concern is not with James Gunn. My concern is with how they're going to run the property. That's my concern. Because it sounds great. Like, who doesn't want to just turn on Netflix and be able to watch DC stuff? But I could do that with HBO Max now. But again, with Netflix, like, sure, I can turn it on and watch it. Like that's the worry part, the worrisome part about all this. That is the worrisome part about all this. Again, as I keep saying, there are pros and cons with Paramount or Netflix taking over Warner Brothers completely. There are pros and cons. This might be one of those cons for Netflix. This might be one of the cons for Netflix. And it sucks because it affects something I love so dearly, which is DC. And I'm worried. I'm now worried. Because whereas a few days ago, I'm like, sure, Netflix. I'm kind of on board with Netflix and I'm all cool with Netflix doing it. But now I'm more hesitant. Now I'm back like, maybe I'm going to start siding with Paramount again. Maybe I'm back on the Paramount train. You know, it's that's what's going on. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say, what you think about all this in the comments below. Where do you think this is going to end up? How do you think Netflix is truly going to handle DC? Look, they're saying that their plan is to put their titles and everything series based on Netflix. Does that mean that Netflix is going to control them 100%? Let me know your thoughts below. Emo Nerd Girl says, I think Netflix should be discreet, not too much at once. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Movie Talk Now says there will be packages under the Netflix app and packages will preserve the HBO and other brand names. That's a good possibility. I think they will do that at some point. Similar to how Disney Plus is right now, where you go on there and you can pull up Hulu. You know, like you got Disney and then you got Hulu. I think that's how it's eventually going to be. You're saying it's going to be more like Movie Talk Now says it's more like buying cable packages and picking channels. It could be. I don't know. That's crazy though. That is crazy. You know, I was thinking today, I was thinking like, okay, let's say Netflix does end up buying everything. Like, what are the chances that Paramount and Peacock are able to stick around? I don't think they will. I think they're going to go away. And I think we're going to have Apple, Amazon, and Netflix, and like Disney, I guess. I think that's the only four that we're going to have. Maybe another, I don't know, but I think there will only be four. And I think the Paramount and Peacock stuff will probably just go to Netflix or to Apple or to Amazon or something like that. That's what I think will happen. It'll be interesting for sure. Well, I just skipped over stuff. Trayvon says DC fan base reminds me of that girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I want. Trayvon says if that leads to a massive simplification of the streaming platforms, then I'd be on board. Supergirl says with Netflix, we better still have physical releases. I'm so over this digital bull crap. We'll see. We'll see. Emo Girl says, what? Netflix is the head honcho? No. Not sure what you're asking there. Brian says, I want Warner Brothers to remain its own thing, but what can we do? I'm the same way. I am the same way. What else? And Emo says Netflix, some of their series stink, man. Some, like 90% of their series stink. You're talking to Trayvon there. I'll let you do that. Okay. What else do I have here? Oh, okay. This is interesting. James Gunn told Brandon Davis, well, the group of people that went on Sunday to see the Supergirl teaser, James Gunn told them that there's a DC show coming next year that he's been excited about that we will hear more soon. Clarifies it wasn't part of the slate reveal. So it seems like 2026, we will see two shows. That's interesting. That is interesting. Could it be the Jimmy Olsen show? Maybe, maybe not. They're only going to start filming the Jimmy Olsen show in April. Maybe it's a quick turnaround show. Maybe it's something that they can film and get out within 6 months or so. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what it could be. I'm excited, for sure. But hey, more DC content. Why not? Let's go for it, right? Let's go. What else do we got here? Let's get rid of some of these tabs that I don't need anymore. Millie Alcock has revealed hold that there, that she shot a whole scene in Kryptonian, speaking Kryptonian language. Now, this could be a spoiler, people, for the movie. Oh my God, it was with Superman, and I wasn't in the suit, and I was speaking a different language. Yeah, that day was really hard. It was like 2 degrees. He jumped right in the deep end. Yeah, that was a hard day. The whole scene was in Kryptonian. The whole scene was, yeah, Kryptonian. I want to see a video of her talking about this and saying this quote, because it's hard for me to believe that she would slip up and say this. Because my guess is they would probably want to keep Corn Sweat's part in Supergirl a secret for as long as possible. So I would think that they probably told Millie, like, hey, do not let this slip up if he's in the movie. So to me, I have a feeling that this is all bullshit, because Millie seems like the kind of girl that would do that. Maybe. I'm not saying it is. Definitely. I'm just saying, if anybody's going to just talk bullshit and make up something, I could see Millie being the one to do that, because she just seems like that kind of person, which is hilarious, because we need more of those kind of people in the entertainment industry to just kind of shut up reporters and scoopers who try to pull things out of people. But I think it could be bullshit. I'm hoping it is, because I think we all expect Superman to be in the movie in some form or fashion, in some capacity, at some point in it. But I don't want to hear about it on December 11th, 6 months before the movie is out, 7 months before the movie's out. But that's just me. But take that as you will. We'll see if it actually happens. It is interesting for sure. Let's see. What else do we got here? Peter Safran says Jason Momoa is basically Lobo in real life. We love it when the casting is a person volunteering to play the part and be the part. And I bring you to this, which I posted today, how it started. If you remember this little video here, he posted back in 2023. I think it was 2023. I think it was even like January 2023, something like that. He was walking out of some kind of meeting, and he started recording himself, and he was like, I can't wait to tell. I can't tell you. I love you, James Gunn. I love you, Peter. Talking about Peter Safran. David, talking about David Zaslav. Just so excited, just so pumped up about something. And everybody's like, what is he talking about? Everybody had a feeling he was talking about Lobo. Everybody thought it was Lobo that he was talking about, but nobody could know for sure. Some people were speculating, we're getting an Aquaman 3. Like, what? Come on, guys. Really? That's what you're going with? But everybody was like, it's got to be Lobo. But, that was back then in 2023, early 2023. And here we are today with the first official look of his Lobo in the Supergirl teaser. And it's great to see that Peter Safran talked about on Sunday how great of a casting it is. And we all knew it's a great casting, but it's great to see how great of a casting it actually is. So it's exciting. It's fun. We all love it. And then finally, before we get into the teaser, Peter Safran, says that that Supergirl is currently under 2 hours. So with 7 months to go before the movie comes out, the movie not locked yet, but in editing is under 2 hours long. Look, that's not a bad thing. I know people always freak out. Not everyone, but some people freak out about how long a movie is. I tell people this all the time. A good movie doesn't have to be 3 hours long. A bad movie doesn't have to be 3 hours or 2 hours long, or 1 hour long. Like the time of a movie doesn't mean a movie is good or bad. The movie length. So if the story negates the movie to be 2.5 hours long, then the movie negates it to be 2.5 hours long. If the story negates the movie to be an hour and 54 minutes, then that's how long the story needs it to be. That's the important part. So as long as the story fits and it works, that's great. Like, one of my biggest issues with Superman was it was just felt a little rushed. Like, I think the story deserved to be like 20 minutes longer, and I think it would have held up better story-wise and editing-wise and pacing-wise for Superman to be like 20 minutes longer. But they decided to put it out, at just under 2 hours or something like that. That was their decision. It's not a bad movie. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake with Supergirl. I don't think they're going to make it rushed. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. I think they're going to do exactly what it needs to do, and that's perfectly fine. So, again, people who sit there and complain about movies and their time, look, they do what they got to do to make a movie as long as it needs to be, and that's what they're going to do with this movie. All right. Before we get into the teaser and start breaking it down a little bit, as I like to do with the teasers, I was looking. It was, what was it, December 19th, when we sat here and broke down the Superman teaser. That was a good time, right? So it's been almost a year. It's crazy. Where are we at? Fanmater. What's going on, fan? Says, I saw that Jarbo is doing his negative opinions again. Well, that's unfortunate. Trayvon says, what good would owning it? You're talking about physical media there. Brian with an eye says, my bladder appreciates 90 to 120 minute movies. Yeah. But you got to time it right. If you go to the theater, get yourself a drink. Then when the trailers are playing, I get some people love watching some of the trailers. See the ones you want to see right when that ad comes up with, Nicole Kidman. Run out, go to the bathroom, and come back, and you should be good to go for a good 2.5 hours. That's if you go to AMC, of course. I go to AMC, so. Raunchness, is it Ron Chess says Superman was really good movie. It was. I'm not crapping on Superman. Look, it was a good movie. It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Don't think I'm crapping on it. I enjoy the movie. Okay. I know some people. So, like, I posted yesterday about the score, because we heard just a snippet of the score for Supergirl, and I was like, man, this really excites me for this score for Supergirl more so than I was excited for the score of Superman. And people like came at me about it, and it's like, guys, look, I just wasn't a big fan of the Superman score. It's okay. Like, it's okay. Like, we don't all have to like everything. Like, it's okay. I enjoy the Superman movie, and there's bits and pieces of the score I like. It just wasn't the greatest score ever. It wasn't a great score, in my opinion. It has pieces, and I did didn't I do a whole show on the score where I went piece by piece, like track by track on the score, and just gave my opinion on each track. It's a decent score, but it's not great, in my opinion. So, people just get mad. Like, I can like a movie and still have issues with that movie. There's no perfect movie out there. There's none. Like, even my favorite movie, specifically superhero movie, which is Man of Steel, it still has flaws. It still has problems. And I acknowledge that. So no movie is perfect. It's just understanding that and moving forward and knowing that they're all subjective and that you're not going to love every aspect of every movie. It is what it is. Let's see. Everyone says, Superman is perfection. Fight me. I don't want to fight right now. Oh, boy. Rochess says, she is perfect for this character from comics. More Crypto Lobo. Yes, indeed. All right, let me get a drink here. Willie says, a good movie should be 90 minutes and then followed by 3-hour director cut a week later with a touch of slow-mo. Or, a director's cut 4 years later with a whole shit ton of slow motion. Either way, All right. Let's do this. How do I do this? How did I do this before? I remember how I did this before. Do this. Playback speed, we drop it down. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. I don't know why I'm singing Snoop Dogg. All right, so here we go. Starting off right in the beginning. Like I said, oh, wait. Why is it not working? Is it working for you guys? Is it showing? It's not showing, is it? That's not cool. It's not showing full screen for you. I guess we'll go from here. All right, so we see Crypto come in and knock over a bottle onto the record player, which ends up playing the Blondie song, Call Me, which, again, like I said, I think is a great song for this. It gives the real feel and, tone for this entire teaser for sure, which is great. You move a little bit further ahead is when we get to seeing the newspaper here. And here we go. Yeah, there is a little bit. Thank you. I think it was Willie that's talked about that there's a piece of Supergirl right down here. Supergirl. Can we see a better close-up of it? Rescues cats. Yeah. Supergirl rescues cats. Superman saves town nuclear reactor explosion. Supergirl rescues cats. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't catch that. Thank you for catching that. That's great. But anyway, again, I liked this. I thought this was humorous. I liked it. But, just you sit here and you try to pick up little things here of like what is going on here. And again, this was just the little bit, the Daily Planet bit that kind of connects the universe, the larger universe together. So don't need to watch him pee in slow motion. Then we get Millie Alcock in bed, and she goes, "You managed to get it, most of it on the paper this time. And good job, buddy." Which is, again, I think it's very cute. It's fun. It's one of those things. It's like you sit there and it's like, if you're a dog owner, you understand just these little quirks and these little details when it comes to owning a dog, owning a pet. Like my dog right now is laying over there and he's just wishing he was in here with me right now. And every once in a while he has an accident or he does something that he shouldn't do. And it's just like, why? You know better. You know what you're supposed to do. You know you're not supposed to do that. So as a pet owner, you just understand those types of things, and it's fun. It's just cute and fun is what it is. And then what I liked is this, and it's hard to see it on the screen here because it's hard to see it here. I don't know if you can see. So when I watched it on my TV today, the DC Studios logo has like this design over top of it. It was really cool, like some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it looked really cool. Like if you have a chance to watch it on like your TV, and if you have like a nice 4K high def TV, watch it because you'll see like some detail within this stuff. It's really great looking. It is really, really great looking. Then we see kind of an extended extended version of that little teaser that we got on Sunday, that little tease of the teaser of Supergirl sitting at basically like a bus stop where she's sitting there with those sunglasses on and her trench coat and the ripped pants and the black shirt. And she's sitting there as that ship lands right next to her. And it's a cool shot. I like the shot with the mountain in the background. It's really good looking. It doesn't look terrible. I'm sure they'll clean it up a little bit because you can, for me, like if you want to get down to it, you're going to see some little bits and pieces like, okay, this, you can definitely tell this is a special effects shot. I mean, it's a spaceship. Of course it is. But, it just looks a little like it needs cleaned up just a little bit. Looks a little too clean right there, for instance. So again, we're 7 months out, people. And I'm sure this teaser was probably made even 2 or 3 months ago. So it's probably been cleaned up by this point. But I digress. What do you guys think? I want you guys to throw in the comments what you think some of this stuff is, what it connects to, how it connects to the comics. If you think it connects to the comics at all, I'd love to see what you say. All right. We move forward. we see inside the little ship there. The I don't know if that's the driver. I think that's probably the driver. Um, and then we see Supergirl walking into a bar. Now this is significant because the significance of this is if you've read the Woman of Tomorrow comic, you'll know that the opening of that comic takes place in a bar. And that is the significance of this bar, because this is where it's kind of like the story starts. And that's why I think a lot of people get excited about seeing the bar in this. And you see her, and she has a drink in her hand. She's talking about that year 23. So her 23rd birthday is going to be the best year yet. And she's sitting there talking to Crypto, which I think is great. Somebody turns on a disco ball in there, and it's, getting all fun, and she's dancing around. I guess it was probably her that put on the disco ball. Who knows? We'll see, I guess. But, she's having fun. It looks like she's getting drunk, having a good time, partying, that kind of thing, to just have a good time. Black screen because of the shift and transitions. But then it cuts back to where she's talking to Crypto, which, look at him. Look at Crypto. Come on, people. Look at Crypto. Like, honestly, look at Crypto. Just look at him. Crypto looks fantastic. He still looks as good as ever. But she goes, let's be honest, babe, talking to Crypto. It's not a hard bar to, not a very high bar. I'm sorry, not a very high bar to clear, talking about this being the best year. So I guess she's had some pretty rough years. And that's kind of setting up like how her life has been rough. Like over the last how many years her life has been rough. And now it says from director Craig Gillespie. Now this is our first look at Krypton. And we see a beam of light and then a shield start to go over what appears to be a city. Now, I know a lot of people want to sit there and say, oh, well, that's Kandor, or that's Brainiac taking over Kandor, or something in that regard. Like, there's a lot of discussion on what that is. I'll get on to it in a few minutes here on what it could be. Then we get our first look at Ruthie. Like I said, Ruthie, I thought I was a little worried about them casting such a young actress to play this role, because in the comics, I didn't think she was that young. She looked a lot older, a lot more regal, but she knocks it out of the park in what little bit we see her here. But she's here, and she goes, I didn't know any of you were still alive, talking about Kryptonians. She goes, what was it like to see or to lose everything in the day, or in one day, essentially, talking about losing Krypton in one day. Now, this shot here, this is what I'm talking about, okay? Now, for those of you who don't know, in the comics, there is a city on Krypton called Argo. Now, Argo, well, I take that back. There's two versions of this. Okay, there's actually two versions. On Earth 1, there's a city called Argo, and then on Prime Earth, which is like the main line of DC Comics, it's called Citadel of Argo. And Kara, her father, actually created this dome, like shield over the city to protect it. Now, in was it Earth 1? I think it was Earth 1. It may have been Prime Earth. I can't remember what one it was. But he created the shield to protect it from like diseases and stuff or something like that. I think that may have been, was that Prime Earth? I don't know. Regardless, he created the shield, and then but when Krypton exploded, it actually protected the city from the explosion, and they were kind of saved. And after they were saved, Kara was then born after the fact. That happened in Earth 1. Prime Earth, Kara was already alive, and when he built the shield, he actually also built the rocket ship. So that's where, okay, so it was Earth 1 then that was from like diseases and stuff. So Prime Earth, he built the shield and built the rocket ship for Kara to save her life. That's what this is going to be. I'm almost positive that this is Argo. This is not going to be Kandor. This is going to be something like that. Because remember, this is the story of Kara. This is not the story of Kandor. This isn't the story of Brainiac. This isn't the story of Kal-El. This is the story of Kara and her family and how she came to be and the tragedy of her life. And that's why this fits being Argo. That's why it's going to be that. So if you ask me, look, if you guys ask me, I think it's clear it's Argo. So I know that Movie Talk Now and I were kind of going back and forth on this. Just a couple comments on X. There's your explanation, my man. There it is. It's going to be Argo. Anyways, so let's keep going. We see more Krypton. It looks like a funeral procession. She goes, "We didn't die in a day. The gods are not that kind." We see her in space, then scream. Again, that is also how I believe that's going to be Argo, because Argo survives the destruction of Krypton. So they survive, but then something happens to Argo where they don't survive. Everybody on there doesn't survive and they all die. So she lost Krypton and then eventually lost everybody on Argo as well. Earth Prime, Brainiac is actually involved in that. Brainiac actually discovers Argo, captures Zor-El, her father, and actually turns him into a cyborg. And it's a really interesting, crazy story, but that actually happens on Prime Earth. Is that how we get Brainiac? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there that is kind of some of the storyline there that happens on Prime Earth. The gods aren't that kind. We see the spaceship again. And then we see what I think is the most, like I said, we see a moment in the trailer that seems kind of Guardians-esque, and I believe it's this here. This does feel very Guardians-esque here. Even the way she acts with them feels a little Star-Lord-ish. It's fine. I don't hate it. I think it's great. Emilia Alcock is such a great actress. I think it really, really works. I do love how Ruthie's just sitting there and she's kind of like, what's going on? And she's kind of looking at Supergirl like, man, she's really like, she's cocky in a way. Like, okay. But I love it. I love all this. It's great. And, just her delivery, her line delivery, like, oh, this isn't going to end well. Going to end well for you guys, essentially, is how she puts it. It's fantastic. I do love it. And then we start to see some of the little bit of fighting that goes on at the bar, which again, if you've read the comic, does happen. This looks like it's going to be expanded a lot more because the fight at the bar isn't that intense, or not. I won't say intense, but that drawn out. It looks like it's going to be drawn out here. Maybe not. I like how she almost gets hit. The one thing to keep in mind also is, remember, it's the yellow sun that gives her power. Now, this planet, while it does look like it has a yellow sun, it looks like it's very dim. It looks like it's not maybe a dying sun. So if you look at her, she's sweaty. She's not as, maybe as strong, as powerful as she would be, which is probably why she goes there to drink, because she can get drunk because the sun isn't as powerful there. So while she still has her strength and her abilities, it's not as powerful as they typically would be. So yeah, she can take on these guys, but not with as much ease as if she was on Earth. And that's kind of how I was reading into this scene here. So it looks great. The fighting here, it says this summer. And then we get our first look at Creme of the Yellow Hills. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this look. I'm not. If you've read the comic, he's a ginger, big red beard, red hair, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't wear a shirt. he's not looking like this at all. I'm guessing they did it because they wanted to make him look more villainous than he did in the comic, maybe. But it's a very interesting choice and design. Personally, I think that they need to think of something else to do with this, or not think of something else to do with this. I think they should have thought of something else to do with this because they can't change it now. But they should have thought of something else to do with this. And it is what it is. Like, we'll see how it plays out in the movie. Again, this is probably my biggest issue with what I've seen. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But then again, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see for sure. We then see them on a spaceship where Ruthie pulls out her sword. We see them, somebody running and then jumping through a window and then flying away and then hitting the ground, which is Supergirl and Ruthie. And then it looks like they're having a conversation about, oh, what kind of, how big is the party you have? And she goes, it's pretty small, just a party of two, or a group of two. And I'm wondering if she's talking about her and Crypto. And I'm wondering if that is before the event that happens, before her and Ruthie actually combine forces for what they have to do to go forward. And then we see a spaceship crash. We see this moment here. Crypto lying there, injured, hurt. Supergirl crying. Yeah, I don't like that. Look at that. Can't hurt my boy Crypto. You can't hurt my boy Crypto. I just can't do it. There she is out in the desert. I love this shot. When I was watching the teaser, like I rewatched it a few times. Just look at the coloring on here. How it's this light grayish blue to this tan yellowish right here. Like, I love the coloring of this. And I think we'll understand the significance of the coloring in this scene once we see the movie. And I can't wait to see what it is. I cannot wait to see what it is. Let's see. And then we see the main man there. Very quick scene. Like, it was literally like a split second, blink and you miss it moment of Lobo walking through. But there he is in all his glory with the cigar in his mouth and a grenade around his neck. But there he is and looks great as Lobo. The role that Jason Momoa was meant to play. He was born to play. We see Ruthie asking Supergirl or Kara, what's Superman? Or what's Superman like, or something like that. And this is the great thing about this. Again, we see a flight scene for Kara going to get the yellow sun, as much of the yellow sun as she can. But then she goes, he sees the good in everyone, talking about Superman. But then she says, come on, a little faster here. And I see the truth. So whereas Superman sees the good in everyone, she says, I see the truth. And it's a great way to show the differences between the two characters, where Superman just constantly, he wants to see the good in everyone. Even Lex Luthor, like, he wants to see the good in even the most evil of people, the people that want to kill him. Whereas Kara, where Supergirl is going to see the truth, she's going to look at somebody evil and say, you're evil. Like, there's no doubt about it. There's no good in you. You are evil. And that's going to be the difference between the two of them. And I love to see that. It's exciting to see that there's going to be that difference. And then here's the money shot of the trailer, essentially. Kara, Supergirl, in her full getup with the sun behind her shining, her essentially getting her full strength there, most likely, smiling at the camera, the money shot of the teaser. And then we get some action where she has this thing that she's spinning around. It looks like she had a rope thing. She grabs some piece of equipment off of whatever she's on top of a ship or something, and hits a bunch of goons with it. Again, it looks like she's in the brightest amount of sun that she's been in the entire time. So she's probably getting to full strength here. But it looks great. The cape looks great. And then I love this too with the S shield, because it's the reminiscent of the S logo without the yellow behind it that is typical for Supergirl, which I love. But then the yellow and the shield come around it and fills it all out for Supergirl for the shielded logo. I loved it. I loved the teaser. I thought it was great. I want you guys though to tell me, like, what did you see? What did you notice? What did I miss? Because I know there's a lot of stuff that I missed. I know there's a lot of different things within this teaser that I'm sure I missed, and I'm sure that you guys missed as well. It's a great teaser. I think it's probably become. I mean, it was my most anticipated DC movie. I mean, there's only two, but it definitely was my most anticipated DC movie next year. I want to see Clayface also, but Supergirl is definitely up there for sure. But what do we got over here real quick? You guys are talking about digital media still. Critic Chris says Jason is going to rock it as Lobo. Trayvon says the only you guys are talking about physical media still. Come on. Supergirl says there are more pros. You guys are still talking about physical media. Come on. Jeez. Still. Don't even think that, Slav, says Critic. All right, I won't. I don't know what I was talking about at that time when you said that. Anything else? Anything else? I guess not. You guys are talking about physical media more than what we're talking about here. Come on, guys. What the heck? Guys, look, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be great. This movie is going to be so much fun. So I want to hear your thoughts about this for sure. Willie says, do you think they'll give Lobo his bulldog or space dolphins? I honestly think that Lobo is going to be Lobo, and we'll see him with a motorcycle and his weird like hook weapon. And I think that's pretty much it. And then maybe some kind of gun for sure. I'm actually in the middle of typing up a nice little script for a video all about Lobo. I'm hopefully going to record it this week and maybe get it edited for next week, that kind of thing. So, Critic said, I refer to crypto being dead, Slav. Hey, I didn't say he was going to be dead. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the teaser. Let's see. I did put a poll up on here. What did you guys say? I asked, do you like the Supergirl teaser? 81% out of 31 votes, 81% said yes, 19% said no. Bunch of losers, you 19% are. That's all right. I'm just kidding. You guys, it's all subjective. It is all subjective. It's okay. But I think that's it, guys. I think that's it for the show. We went an hour and 15. It's been over an hour already. Where did this time go? Where did the time go? I can't believe it. But I know this show was early this week. I know it's typically Friday to Thursday today. I got a Christmas party I got to go to tomorrow. Plus, the Supergirl teaser dropped today, so it was a perfect day to have an early show this week. Next week, we will have a show on Monday. And just to tell you, Supergirl teaser is up to 6.1 million views in 9 hours. So that's exciting. But yeah, next week we will have a show on Monday, and thinking next week I will have an announcement for all of you on what is going on with the channel. Some of you may have guessed it already. If not, it is what it is, but there will be an announcement on the direction of the channel and what is happening with the channel, which I am very excited about. So with all that said, guys, thank you all so much for watching tonight and joining in. I hope you enjoyed the Supergirl teaser. I did. I'm excited to see where it goes. Where this movie goes, how this movie goes, and all the excitement in the build-up. But with all that said, guys, thank you for joining, and I will catch you all later. Have a good night.